Good morning, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And welcome to the Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Wendy, and I am your intern minister and also your worship associate today. So I am joined by the wonderful Sean Wilcher, Reverend Sean Wilcher, and our director of music ministries, Jacob Swetland, and our director of religious education, Kara Magoon-Pearson. It's in the front row there. So we are all here, and we would like to recognize the many volunteers that help put this service today. There's lots of them. So anyway, if you see some of those people, thank them. It's very important. And I also want to respectfully say that our church is resting on the Ihichaman and Tongva land. As Unitarian Universalists, we have many different beliefs, but we are one loving community. We're bound together not by a common creed or rules or set of beliefs, but rather a covenant. A covenant is a promise that whatever our beliefs are, we accept and encourage each other in our spiritual growth. We affirm that all life has inherent value and that all existence is interconnected. We strive for justice and compassion in our deeds and relationships, and we are committed to creating a welcoming, loving community without regard to the traits that can sometimes divide us. So to our roomers, we would like to invite you to silence your phones at this moment. And for the Zoomers, I want to say welcome, and please feel free to say hello in the chat. I want to extend a special greeting to visitors. If you're seeking a spiritual home, we sincerely hope that you find it here. So we'll begin our service today with our chalice lighting, and this morning I would like to invite Eric N. up to light our chalice. So Eric is one of our board members. He's one of the trustees, and he was born a UU, and then he left for a while, and then he came back here 2 years ago, and we are so happy to have him here. Thank you so much for lighting our chalice today, Eric. And now I will invite you to join me in our unison affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to serve in love, and to help one another. This we affirm together.
Please rise and body our spirit, and let's sing our opening song.
Far people often say that they love coming to this place, this church, so that they can be with so many like-minded people. And I know what people are getting at when they say that, but I think that they're not quite getting it right. Because I don't want to be with a bunch of people who think just like me. I want to be in a beloved community where I won't have to think like everyone else to be loved. I want to be with people who value compassion, justice, love, and truth, though they have different thoughts and opinions about all sorts of things. I want to be with people who have many names or no name for the holy. I want to be with people who see me in my goodness and dignity, but also see my failings and foibles and who still love me. I want to be with people who feel their interconnection with all of existence and let it guide their footfalls upon the earth. I want to be with people who see life as a paradox and don't always rush to resolve it. I want to be with people who are willing to walk the tightrope that is life and will still hold my hand as I walk mine. I want to be people who let church call them into a different way of being in the world. And I want to be with people who support, encourage, and even challenge each other to higher and more ethical living. I want to be with people who inspire one another to follow the call of the Spirit. I want to be with people who give of themselves, who share their hearts, minds, and gifts. And I want to be with people who know that human community is often warm and generous, sometimes challenging, and almost always a grand adventure. In short, I want to be with people like you.
From singing. What though the tempest and the roar? I hear the truth. I hear the truth. It's living. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night. Songs in the night. It's giving. No storms can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging, since I believe that love above. How can I keep? How can I keep? How can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing? from singing, 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 singing.
I'd like to invite Erin Magoon Pearson. She is our Director of Religious Education for Children and Youth up here, and she's going to be teaching us all something.
Good morning. So this morning I wanted to talk to you about stewardship. And stewardship is not a word you might hear every day, but it means taking care of something that we value and helping it grow. So what are some ways that you take care of yourself? Anybody want to share? Brush your teeth. Spend time with friends, take a shower, eat healthy, sleep, exercise, lots of ways. Naps, that's a good one. Get a facial, yeah. And how about some ways that you take care of your home? Sweeping, cleaning, painting, maintenance, very important. So we can also be good stewards of our congregation. And stewardship calls on us to take responsibility and make a contribution of time, talent, and treasure. So we're stewards of our congregation when we give our time to do a needed task. Like, did you know on Sunday mornings, Derek and Dominic Magoon Pearson right here in the front, they help me turn on the lights in the classrooms and open all the blinds so the youth don't fall asleep during youth group. And set up chairs in the classrooms all to get ready for our classes on Sundays. Or Judith Stamper over here. I know she's using some of her time right now to plan a committee fair at church in a couple of weeks. So she's organizing the leaders of all of our church groups to share what they're doing with our congregation so that people can find new things to do at church and new ways to give their own time to make a difference here. We're also stewards of our congregation when we share our talents. So the members of our choir, of course, are the most obvious example of this. They share their talents with us almost every Sunday, and we all benefit so much, don't we? And I'm only in here for the very beginning of the service every Sunday, but the music still that they share with me still makes a big difference to my whole week. So I'm so glad to have that every Sunday. And another talented person I know that I wanted to talk about is Mirabelle Hauser. Ooh, there she is back there. Hi, Mirabelle. So did you know that Mirabelle can speak Russian? You want to come up and say hi? Hi. So I wanted to talk about Mirabelle because, as many of you know, when our church welcomed Ukrainian guests here to live on our church campus, we also had a lot of children that came to the classes. And a lot of them don't really know any English yet. And so, that was hard for them, and it was hard for all of us, the leaders in the classes too. And so we were so lucky because we had Mirabelle there to help us communicate and help us be welcoming and help everybody feel comfortable. And she really shared that talent with us and made a big difference. Well, thank you so much, Mirabelle. And the last way we're stewards of our congregation is by sharing our treasure. And no, I'm not talking about pirates or anything like that, so don't get too excited. I'm talking about giving money. Dun, dun, dun. So we know love may make the world go around, but money keeps the lights on. And our congregation uses money to pay our staff, like me and Reverend Sean and Jacob and Avery and Julian and Sarah in the office, and Joelle and Catherine and Ella in the nursery, and more people than that. And we pay for the lights and the air conditioning, which we really appreciate in the summer, I know. And the internet, so our Zoomers can be with us every Sunday. Hi, Zoomers. And we pay for all the materials we use in our religious education classes, all these chairs that you're sitting on, all the coffee we drink after church, all the music we buy for the choir. All of it comes from the generosity and kindness of every person, past and present, in this congregation. And no one person could afford all of that, at least no one that we know personally, unfortunately. So that's why we ask everyone to do what they can and give money based on what they can afford to give. And when we all give something, then we can afford all these things and more. And did you know that this collecting of money is actually a celebration? It's a celebration of our shared hopes and values, a celebration of our commitment to the work of the congregation. Sort of like if you got together with all your friends and all put in some money together to do something big that you really wanted to do, and it's something we do together and are really proud of. So I'm looking forward to celebrating with all of you today during the pledge brunch after the service. And I hope I've inspired you to take a look around at all the wonderful ways members of our congregation share their time, talent, and treasure with us. And I hope you think about new ways you can be a good steward of our congregation too. So I'm going to light our children's chalice, and we're going to sing our children and youth and their leaders out to the religious education classes.
Start a new dance now, a new dance craze. We'll call it the As You Go. There you go. So let's see here. You all know what a transformer is, right? This kind of a transformer. Yeah, I have a little show and tell today. So Hasbro started making these in 1984, and it's been a favorite of kids around the world, including my niece when she was a lot younger than she is now. She's 18, but I remember when she was, I don't know, 7 or 8, and this was her big deal. She loved these things, and when I would go visit, they would be lying around the house, as I'm sure many of you probably who have kids or grandkids know about these things. And I remember one time sort of seeing one there and going, oh, I wonder if I could, kind of figure out how to make this thing go together. And after about 10 minutes, I was like, I don't know. And my sister, so my niece's, Alex's mom, came over, plucked it out of my hand, went boom, 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 boom. And it was all transformed into the other form that it comes in, and I still haven't learned it. But it was immediately transformed. And I remember thinking, wouldn't it be great if transformation was that easy? And just learn a few tricks and bing, bang, boom, suddenly you're done. But unfortunately, it's not. And anytime there's transformation, it never seems to be easy. Change is not an easy thing. And moreover, it's not only that change or transformation is not only just difficult, but oftentimes we could take a long time for it to happen, right? We humans, we have something called recency bias. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a tendency to place more emphasis on a very recent memory and to somewhat downplay or even somewhat forget or be more vague about something in the distant past, right? So we remember something more recent than that. Now, personally, I think this is an evolutionary thing because, let's face it, would women have a second child if they truly remembered, okay, what it was like to go through childbirth? So this is my own personal theory here. But transformation is not something that, we do just individually, right? Even as a community, as a church community, or even as a culture, we often go through transformation that happens to us. And for example, I think that many of us may have forgotten a lot of the traumatic time of the pandemic already, right? Which was just only a few years ago. We don't realize how much of it has actually changed us. We've gotten used to Zoom, our Zoomers up there, you can see some of them over there too, to wearing masks maybe when we have a cough or we just want to feel comfortable. We just go ahead and wear a mask, which is totally fine. Everybody's like, yep, sure, fine, no problem. And more people work from home than ever before. So the pandemic kind of changed our culture and this church in very significant ways. You know, we could have done Zoom before, but we didn't. We didn't know how easy it was to actually do this, and now we can do it. And we have anywhere from 25 to 30 people every Sunday on Zoom. For better or for worse, we have transformed. Now, those of you who were here 10 years ago or even 3 to 4 years ago, I just invite you to look around and think about how much just even this room has changed. Now, some of you are new and you may not know, so, you know, let me let you know that this whole thing, this is created by the sweat labor of people in this room. There's bathrooms that they created in the back. There's a kitchen actually behind this wall here, if you didn't know it. And I can actually even show you some of the before and after pictures. So that's what it looked like when they first came here and gutted it all. And they transformed it into this room. But remember the pink chairs that were kind of stained and old and everything like that, right? We used to have a concrete floor. And now we have this lovely kind of faux wood that takes stains, no problem. So that's really good. Or make sure you don't have to do it. We got new choir risers and new podium up here that looks great. We've got other things as well. That's just this room. We transformed also our courtyard, if you remember. Oh. There we go. So if you remember, this is what our courtyard looked like. It had this huge raised up area in it that had trees and everything like that. We took that out so that we could have this wonderful patio out there and have coffee out in the middle of it everywhere. We put in a new pergola, new brickwork to replace the concrete. There's new chairs and tables and umbrellas. We transformed this campus from a place of a for-profit business to also a spiritual campus of 5 different churches, 4 of which rent from us. We own all these 3 buildings here, and 4 churches actually rent from us now, and we all work together in harmony. It's really kind of wonderful. And now, of course, we have this new sanctuary that we're going to build. All things change, all things transform, and we get to decide in some ways into what. So that building over there is going to become this, because as you can see here on Sunday morning, we're getting a little bit packed in here. And that's not including also the people on Zoom. So I think it's absolutely wonderful. But here's the thing, that even in the last 10 years, not only have we just sort of physically transformed our space, right, but we've also transformed our communities. So for example, we've done things like working with the LGBTQ community, doing pride parades and transgender days of awareness, proving that church doesn't have to be a hateful place. It can be a loving, supportive place for people of all different genders, loves, everything, right? We also have been doing then, in the last 10 years, the Environmental Film Festival, right? So this is learning about how we can be better friends of the earth, and we have biodegradable cups that we use on coffee on Sunday morning, and we're working on recycling better, and all sorts of things that we're trying to think about how can we build that sanctuary also in a more green way as well. So we're really learning ourselves about all of these things, but helping this earth as best as we can. And then, of course, many of you, as Karen mentioned, with Mirabel, we have all these Ukrainians that we've been supporting. And it's not just that we have the place next door right now where we have filled with our Ukrainian guests who've been coming here, running from war, using our shelter. We've done a little over 100 of people from there in the last year or so, including also some cats and dogs, lots of children, as you can see some of them there. But also, almost that same amount of people have actually been sponsored by people in this church, or actually taken into their home, different people, Ukrainians, into their home. This is all about showing love to those who are in need. And those are just a few of the things that this community has done. You know, when the pandemic hit, we didn't always agree on what to do, but we listened to one another, came together to create this vital worship at a time when we needed one another, bringing our programs online, when other churches actually stopped altogether, or they created more anxiety by actually still trying to meet together. So transformation is kind of in our blood. It's something that we do, and we just forget about all of these wonderful things that we've done. You know, we've gotten kind of used to our wonderful Ukrainian guests over there, but do we stop and think about all the different ways in the lives that we have touched in this world as a community? And of course, there's also ourselves, right? I think about when I first came here 10 years ago, a little over 10 years now. I've been working toward a settled ministry for 9 years, okay? Like, that was my goal. I'm going to get a settled ministry. And when it finally arrived, I was like, okay, I've been striving for so long, working toward this goal, and now that goal was here. What now? What do I strive for? I hadn't really known. I felt really kind of lost for a little while. And, you know, there was also the move, and there were financial challenges, and of course there was growing the congregation and getting to know everybody and all that sort of thing. But like that end goal thing wasn't there anymore. And I think I felt sort of rudderless for a little while, and it took me a while to learn to simply be and enjoy this ministry and help it grow and just love everyone and get to know everyone. And that my calling was a pleasure, and that was enough, right? And I think if you've ever hit retirement, right? Or maybe you're a new parent or just left college, or you're trying to find a new career, you probably know what I'm talking about, right? These different types of transformations that can change our lives can, for a while, help us feel, make us feel a little bit lost, right? A little maybe overwhelmed or unsure. But when I look back now, I sort of feel like I've completely chilled out. I think this thing is broken now. Can you move the slide? Thank you. There we go. Okay. First of all, I've become much more mellow, and my preaching has, I think, improved. I've changed how I do services. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I try not to make my service or message fit a template. Instead, I try to fit it to the message of the day. I've learned a lot about anti-racism, anti-oppression work, homelessness, the Ukraine war, Israeli-Palestine conflict. I've learned all kinds of things that help me become a better person and more informed about the diversity of this world. I recently taught a class on Hinduism that I knew nothing about, but I got to teach you all, everybody who was there, and it was so much fun. I love learning these things. But I've learned other things too. I've chilled out, and even though they use this really lovely older picture of me, I have learned some other things too. For example, I've learned not to check my email before I go to bed. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, okay. I've learned not to read the news when I'm tired or discouraged. I've learned to reach out to my friends when I'm upset. They calm me down. I've learned to enjoy learning, right? So even though I may never become a brilliant banjo player or guitar player or artist, I enjoy learning those things, right? And I've learned that this congregation is truly one of the best congregations out there, and I'm really lucky. Y'all don't know, okay? I talk to my colleagues, trust me when I say this is the best congregation. And I've learned that board meetings can be a lot of fun when we can laugh with one another. I've learned to appreciate the paranoid, because I'm not, and let's face it, sometimes they're right. In other words, I have transformed in many ways, and quite frankly, I like myself better now. And I hope you do too. I hope that that's what happens in all of our transformations as we grow older and wiser, that we like ourselves a little bit more. So I want to ask you, what about you? I'd like to invite you into a time of contemplation, right, to think about. I mean, going back, 10 years, I put stuff up here in the church that's been going on for the last 10 years since I've been here. But as you know, Karen Stoyanov, our former minister, is here with us, and she did amazing stuff in her ministry here. AIDS team ministry, making meals for people with AIDS, the work against Prop 8 to try and stop that, all sorts of amazing things in her ministry as well. But if you go back, say, 10 or maybe 20 years, I want to invite you to think about that. I know you have changed, but how and in what way? So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I want to invite you into kind of a meditative, contemplative place of being. Get a little comfortable in your seat if you want to take some deep breaths. And relax and maybe soften your eyes or close your eyes if you like. So I want you to maybe go back 10 years. It's 2014 or 2004. How have you changed in the last decade or so? Try not to think about the most recent thing, but going back years, how have you changed? So how have you changed and what changed you? And was that easy or hard? And here's an interesting question for you. How has this church changed you? For those of you who've been around for a while, how has this church changed you? What have you learned? How have you opened your heart? What have you dared to do? And when you're ready, please join the choir in singing.
For each of us born
All right. Do you know what this is? This chemical makeup of water, 35 liters, carbon 20 kilograms, ammonia 40 liters, lime 1.5 kilograms, phosphorus 800 grams, salt 250 grams, saltpeter 100 grams, sulfur 80 grams, fluorine 7.5 grams, iron 5.6, silicon 3, and 15 other elements in small amounts. Do you know what this is? What is it? It is the human body. This is the average human body as made up of these different chemicals. Now, of course, we're more than just these elements, aren't we? That's a bit too reductionist to say this is what we are. We are, of course, also our experiences, our relationships, our loves, our angers, all those things. And these things, more than the elements, make up who we are. And all of these things cannot be magically made. They have to be lived, right? We can't just put these in a bowl and suddenly you've got a human being, right? It doesn't quite work that way. Now, for centuries, alchemists, those sometimes mystical experimentalists, wanted to turn lead into gold, right? A kind of transformation. But it wasn't greed that drove them. I always thought, oh, they all just wanted to make gold, right? But instead, the alchemists believed that lead was this sort of base metal. It was the lowest form of metal. It was like a lower being kind of metal, whereas gold was the higher kind of being metal. It was a better, higher form of a metal. Now, you can also then kind of see how these alchemists, while their work got a little bit more mystical, right? They believed that by turning lead into gold, they could also turn human beings from a lower life form into a higher life form, make you more divine in a sense. So to put it bluntly, though, they were looking for an easy transformation. They wanted a bing, bang, boom, boom toy that they called the Philosopher's Stone, which actually, by the way, wasn't a stone. That was more thought to be a powder or some goo type of thing. Now, for a long time, historians looked down on alchemists, calling them crackpots and pseudosciences and charlatans, that kind of thing. And quite frankly, some of it was, particularly when you get to the medieval period, there were definitely charlatans out there. But not long ago, historians started to realize that alchemy was very much the forerunner of modern chemistry and many modern medicines. And in fact, many of the tools that we use in medicine, in science, and even in the kitchen, that double boiler technique, so I can't remember what it's called, that was created by alchemists in all of their experiments. So alchemists actually transformed much of the world, even if it wasn't what they had originally planned or imagined. And that happens, I think, to all of us, right? We think we know where life is going to lead us, and then the experiences, the relationships, the things that we find out, we just know that we're going to transform in some way, but we may not exactly know how it's all going to turn out in the end. We will change. We may not remember the moment that it happened. We may remember only the most recent thing that happened to us, but we will transform. And moreover, we will transform others. Because I like to think of us as that we're all alchemists, right? We're all transformers. Maybe not easily transformed, but we are all alchemists, transformers, mystical beings in our chemical suits, right? Trying to figure out the world, trying to figure an easy way to transform, and finding that somehow along the way we became who we are. And this church, this is our laboratory. Right? Here we experiment with new ways of being, trying out new ideas, becoming more and more open, loving, welcoming, and even sometimes when we're nervous and unsure about it. And what will be our next experiment? And what will we learn from it? What will we transform into, and how will we transform our communities? I do know it's going to be through the continuing generosity of this congregation. Of course, that today as we're launching our big pledge drive, right? We ask people to continue their incredible generosity for our annual budget. We've raised I think something like almost $2 million already for the new sanctuary. Yes, we're still waiting for the permit. Don't ask. Don't ask, okay? But we are going to transform. We're going to do all these new things, and I'm excited about that. Because we're all alchemists. It's going to take everyone pitching in into this great experiment to make it happen. I personally can't wait to see what we transform into, and what we'll learn about ourselves, and what will we teach the communities that we serve. You know, I don't have all the answers like an alchemist. I don't know exactly what's going to happen when we throw all of this together, all of our generosity in creating a new church year and creating a new sanctuary. But I do know this. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing, because we're always building a new way. So let us sing.
Please rise in body or spirit, and let's sing our returning song.
Unitarian Universalist congregations are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all of the funds to meet the operating budget for all of the amazing things we do to ensure our mutual transformation and transformation of the world. So we are ever grateful for the gifts of your time, treasure, and talent. OCUUC amplifies that spirit of generosity by sharing half the plate we receive with an organization that shares our values. And this month, we are sharing the plate with Bracken's Kitchen. And I hear that Peggy is one of the people that makes meals for this amazing organization. So they're making thousands and thousands and zillions and jillions of meals to support people around us with their needs. So I encourage you to be generous with that plate, because we are sharing that with them. There are multiple ways in which you can pay to support the church and this organization. You can mail a check. You could go through our website. You could use an app called Venco Mobile. And if you were a roomer, you can also use the basket. Oh, we have 2 of them. They'll be around. And the choice is yours. All the information is on our website. So these are all the sources, and we appreciate all that you can do to help. And right now, before we go on, I would also, I would like to invite you
At the start of any given day, there is mystery available. There is a game waiting for an open heart to say yes. Here I am, I'll play. And if we're smart, we'll listen to the way, and all the misery that held us down, we'll let it fade. Let it be outshined by a simple spark of a life that's waiting to be made. It's waiting to be made. What will you make of this day? What will you keep? What will you change? What will you see? What will you believe? What will you make of your dreams? Will you keep sleeping, or will you awaken and decide what you will make? At the start of any given day, there is history and poetry. There is a play, but you're not in the audience. You are the star. So get out there and say what you will make. What will you make of this day? What will you keep? What will you change? What will you see? What will you believe? What will you make of your dreams? Will you keep sleeping, or will you awaken and decide just what you will make of this day? What will you keep? What will you change? What will you see? And what will you believe? What will you make of your dreams? Will you keep sleeping, or will you awaken and decide what you will make?
I would like to take this moment to invite Tom up to speak with you for a little bit about giving testimony and talking about our pledge drive. And maybe how to put the transformer back to its other way.
I've tripped over them in the house, but. Well, we have finally made it to Pledge Sunday. You might have noticed that we used to call it the canvas drive, but there was never any canvas around that we were. It was kind of a non sequitur for a lot of people. It's a pledge drive. We're asking for people to make pledges. I wanted to thank a few people, particularly for today. Meg, who was here early, helping get all the tables and everything organized out there, and actually cleaned off with wipes on the tabletops so that they're clean. Sandy, who's done a huge amount of decorating with things out there. Deborah, who's put together the caterer and a number of other things and a lot of the materials that we have for today. And I want to tell you a little bit about those. We have envelopes at the table and out here, and this contains all the pledge materials that you will need. You'll find a brochure in here. You'll find your pledge card. There's an envelope if you want to mail it back. You can leave it here as well. We've got a place where you can drop off your pledge if you're ready to do it today. So that's all in the envelopes out there, so please stop by and pick it up. When you do pick it up, you'll get one of these little cards. And what you need to do is take that, put your name on it, and drop it in the jar that you'll see out there. And what that does is it gets you in, and the earlier you're in, the more chances you have to win a gift card, a $50 gift card. And we're going to have one each week for the next 5 weeks, counting this week. So if you put it in today, you're in the drawing for all 5 weeks. If you wait till the last week, you're in for 1 week. That's how it works. So we encourage you to go ahead and get your pledge in as quickly as you can. I want to tell you a quick story. We went back, you all know my wife's Nancy, and she saves everything. And I went back and looked at the book that we had for giving, or for the annual meeting in 1982. And the reason I looked at it is I went to see when was the first time I was ever president here. It was '83, so it was the election. And I looked at it. Our budget for the entire year, for everything, pledges, everything, was $47,000. Today, our budget is over $400,000. So things have changed quite a bit. I can't even imagine how, and we had several employees that worked for us, and still the budget was $47,000. So it was kind of amazing. We can't do much on $47,000. Well, we can get by about 1 month, but that's about it. So we encourage you to go ahead and be generous with your pledging, as you're able, of course. Pick up your materials, and we've got a brunch for you after all that. And we invite everybody in the room to the brunch. Members, friends, visitors, kids. If you've got kids you're taking through, escort them through the line and help them with the food. They tend to grab anything and so please do that. Welcome to our pledge drive. You're going to be hearing more for the next 5 weeks, so enjoy it. Thank you.
Gather together, a song that puts our intentions into words and expresses the many gratitudes for the gifts that we share.
Well, now is that time when we honor the important events and people in our lives. And just like the brunch, you are all invited, whether you're a member, friend, or visitor, to participate in this weekly ritual we call Joys and Sorrows. So I'd like to begin by inviting Judith Stamper up here. She's one of our pastoral care team members, and she'll assist you in lighting candles. So if you've come here with holding something in your heart from the last days, weeks, or even hours, and you'd like to honor that by embodying it, by lighting a candle, you're invited to do so. If you're a roomer, you can just simply come forward and light your candle. If you'd like to share your joy or sorrow, you can write it out on a slip of paper like this one, and the ushers have them. Just raise your hand. If you didn't get one when you first came in, they'll bring it to you. And Zoomers, if you need to, you can write it in the chat. That's why I have this. If you see me typing during the service, I'm saying hello to Zoomers. Just want to make sure I'm not checking Facebook. I'm just saying. So Zoomers can then write it in the chat, and then I'll read them out loud. So please come forward and invite you to silently offer healing or celebration as you feel called and according to your own beliefs. I will read, I'm going to go ahead and read those here in person first. So people lit candles. So Stacy S over here. If you notice these beautiful flowers here, she's lit a candle of celebration. She says, today's flowers are in honor of her birthday on the 19th. She says she absolutely loves being a queen ager. That took me a second. I don't know about y'all. I was like, Lori Kay lit a candle of joy because she's so happy to see Sunny back here again after she had her knee surgery. We're very happy to have her back. And Simone B. would like lit a candle of prayer. She said for the safe journey for her 3 grandchildren who will be flying in from Portland to John Wayne in a week to visit San Diego Zoo and Grandma Simone. Yeah. And their parents, yes, and your kids too, they also count, yeah. Wendy here lit a candle of joy, she says, because her father-in-law, Jerry, had a heart procedure this week and he's already feeling better. So yay. And Jacob here, he lit a candle, he says, even though I was unexpectedly was unexpectedly sick last Sunday. I'm happy to know that everything went smoothly. Thank you, Julian and the choir. They did. They really pitched in, which is wonderful. We got a great crew. See, this is what I'm talking about. All right. So then if we could light a candle for those online here. Let's see, we've got, Catherine M. said she would light a candle of gratitude for the wonderful days at Indian Wells celebrating her mother's 90th birthday with children and grandchildren. Wow, 90th birthday, that's cool. And Leanna S. says she would like a candle lit of gratitude for this beautiful weather. Yes, it's nice, cool, but sunshine. Love it. And Sarah J., she's our administrator. She says, a candle of gratitude for all my dear friends here at church and the care and love they give me. I am so very fortunate. Amen. And Linda C. She says, please light a candle of joy for this church. Let's all be as generous as we can. Bless your heart. And Peggy P. said, lit a candle of joy for this day, which is an awesome day. It's true. And Catherine T., she would like a candle of sadness at the loss of Rachel Smith. Many of you know Rachel. She was a longtime member here. She says, Catherine says, I remember her well. She was very kind and friendly to me when I was new to the church, and throughout the time I was able to attend services in person. Yeah, she moved a few years ago to Arizona to be closer to family down there. So then we've had a few sent to me ahead of time. Marilyn G. Many of you know Marilyn. She was in ICU for 5 days, then went to rehab. And she says, it is with great joy that I can let you know that I will be going home today. She's going home today. She's back to her apartment here in Costa Mesa. She says, I'll be continuing my physical therapy at home and hopefully continue to get stronger as each day passes. Thank you all for your special thoughts and caring ways. I look forward to when I can see you all again. She's doing really great. And Dolly Duran, she also would like light a candle of sorrow for Rachel as well. She says, well, our lunch bunch is now reduced to only 2, Barbara Ray and herself. We first lost Pat Robitaille some years ago, and now our dear Rachel Smith. She says, I feel so very honored when these ladies invited me to lunch with them each Sunday after church. What conversations and laughter around the table. We who knew them will mourn them forever. Yeah. She also wanted to light a candle of joy along with that of her sadness of missing her friend. She says, I am happy to be accompanied today by my niece Rhonda from Minneapolis, who's been here for the weekend for the purpose of research so as to stash me in an old folks home. Oh, Dolly, I don't think that could ever happen. All right. Let's see here. All right. Let us hold in love all the joys and celebrations and all the hurts and sadness, whether they were spoken or remain silent in our hearts. Let our joys remind us to be thankful, our concerns remind us to hope, and our sorrows remind us to connect with one another. Let all these moments remind us that we are not alone. Please join Judith in a spirit of prayer.
These are words from Reverend Rebecca Ann Parker. You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. Amen.
We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in the hearts until we are together again. I thank all of us joining this morning. We are a congregation made up of people who all believe differently, and yet here we are together. Whether we are in the room or if we are in the Zoom, together we make up a very loving community, and we need not to love alike to find a community here. So if you are a guest or a visitor or someone who has not yet been known to us, I invite you to become part of this beloved community. If you would like to know more about the church, we invite you to either stop by the welcome table out in the courtyard, where we have some goodies and some information and lunch today. So if you're just joining us, good call. If you would like to know more about our church, like I said, you can go on out there, or you can jump online. You can contact us at hello@ocuuc.org, and we will help you get connected. So for our roomers, we are also happy to offer a 15-minute tour that we have, not today, but in the next time we were here, we will be offering a tour. So I'm opening up this invitation not to just new folks. We'll do that again next week too. But if you are curious about some of these places that are in the church that you may not know about, there are lots of cool things about this church, and you should take the tour too. So anyway, that tour is not happening today, but it will be continuing to happen. And, like I said, I would invite you should go on the tour. Anywho, so for our roomers, we thank you. For our Zoomers, you're welcome to stay and chat online with each other. We'll be around in that space as well. And we want everyone to feel part of this beloved community. So please reach out and we will help you get connected. And Reverend Sean has a few announcements.
All right, I don't know about you, but my stomach is growling. I'm starting to smell some good food. So as both Tom and Wendy mentioned, everyone here is invited to our brunch this afternoon. If you're new, don't worry about a pledge card or anything like that. But if you're a member or a longtime friend, please worry about the pledge card. That would be great. Really appreciate it. So there's should be food for everyone out there and everything. I also want to point out that was also mentioned by Karen was that we have a committee and programs fair starting in 2 weeks after worship. So if you need more information, Judith, you want to raise your hand? Just let her know. It's a great way to learn more about what's going on around here, although you can see a whole list of things there on the right. A couple things I want to point out. I'm going to be at a ministers conference next week in Arizona, so I won't be here. I will be checking some emails, though. The other thing I want to mention also is that next Sunday is what we're starting is a new Sunday in-person sermon discussion group led by our very own Wendy Karn. So it will be after church on Sunday. So a sermon discussion group, if you don't know what that is, it's basically going deeper into the sermon topic. I basically give an outline and a bunch of questions for you to go deeper into. And if you've never been part of a sermon discussion group, it's a great way to learn more about the congregation, or just, what am I thinking? If I trigger something in a sermon, you can go deeper into it and share your own thoughts as well. So we're doing one in person. The other 3 that we have are online. And if you want to do the online ones during the week, just let me know and we'll get you connected with some of those as well. The other thing that we're starting to do a little bit differently is we have people joining our church all the time, but you may not always know who they are. So we decided we're actually going to do new slides to show you who actually has joined. So last week, Kay Preston joined us. There's Kay over there with her son Craig, who's been a member here as well. And then the other person, which we didn't get a photo of, but he's here today. So I'm going to have stand up. John Phibbs joined us. So we're really excited to have people join. If you'd like to join the church, just come and see me after church and we'll get you set up and get a picture. We'll make sure we're getting pictures from here on out. So at any rate, all right, everyone, my fellow alchemists, let's go transform the world. Let's sing our final benediction and go have food. This service is over. Now let's go eat.